Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Phillies Postgame show here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. The Phillies Postgame show all season long is brought to you by our friends at Colony Pools and Power Washing. Let the experts get rid of that ugly green algae and mold off your roof, off your siding, and off your deck. They service Delaware, Delco, and Chester counties. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250. A win is a win is a win, and that right there was a win. I don't care if it's a walk-off throwing error by Bo Bichette or it's a walk-off home run. The walk-off home runs are more exciting. If Nick Castellanos would have hit that two-run home run at the bottom of the ninth inning, that would have been really exciting, but it's still a win, and the Phillies have won 3 in a row. And what do we call 3 in a row? A winning streak, and that's what the Phillies were able to accomplish today. I don't know. It just felt like a win. This entire, for whatever stupid reason in my idiotic brain, it just felt like a win through. I just didn't feel like the Phillies were going to lose this one. I felt like the pitching was going to hold up. I felt like the bats eventually were going to come around, and once Gosman got out of the game, you were going to be able to take advantage of it, and you were able to take advantage of it a couple of different times. You got a leadoff walk, you got a leadoff hit, you weren't able to cash in on it, but just something about getting to that bullpen made me feel like this Phillies team was going to win the game this afternoon, and that's exactly what they did. And they were cruising right along. This was set to be like a 2.5-hour game. Ends up running a little bit longer than that, about a 3-hour game, actually. But still, Phillies get that victory. And Zach Wheeler, got to give him so much credit. I know he took it on the chin, unfortunately, in that 5th inning when Brandon Belt led off with the solo home run. It was 1-0. But other than that, Zach Wheeler's performance tonight was beautiful. First time he goes 7 innings in a ball game. He used 107 pitches to do it. He goes 7 innings, scatters 3 hits, one of which was the home run, which was his only run, only allowed 1 walk in the ball game, and he struck out 7. Beautiful performance from Zach Wheeler. That's the guy that is going to be the ace of the staff. That version of Zach Wheeler is going to be the ace of the staff. Just like Aaron Nola going 8 innings against the Houston Astros a week ago, that could be a guy, or a week and a half ago, that could be the guy to be the ace of the staff. But Zach Wheeler, more consistently over the last 2 years, has been that guy for the Phillies, and that's the performance you need to see from him throughout the rest of this season to give this Phillies team a real shot at making the playoffs. I still think this is a playoff team. I know they're 1 game under 500 now after winning this ball game 2-1 against the Blue Jays and sweeping the brief 2-game set with Toronto and South Philadelphia, which is nice before going out there to face off against San Francisco. But this particular game, this particular series, the Phillies seem to always struggle against American League teams, in particular AL East teams, and they were able to handle their business in this game, in this series, this brief 2-game set against the Toronto Blue Jays. Great vibes overall. Phillies never hung their heads. The bats were very quiet throughout this game. I mean, when you look at the pitching, for instance, when you go to the Blue Jays, I mean, they struck out Phillies batters 13 times in this game. They only surrendered 7 hits in this game. Gosman gave up 3 of those in his start. He lasted 6 innings, and he struck out 9 on his own. 6 innings, 99 pitches for Gosman in this one. And the Phillies just couldn't get the big hit against him, unfortunately. But let's go ahead and focus on that game-winning sequence there in the 10th inning. Very interesting situation here. Sosa's on second base, as they do with the leadoff, the runner on second base to start out. First off, Kimbrel. Hat tip to Craig Kimbrel. Got hit around a little bit when he was out there on the road trip, especially in Los Angeles. Comes in last night, settles the storm. Comes in today in the 10th inning to start things out for the Phillies bullpen in extra innings. Jensen strikes out. Espinal strikes out. Kirk grounds out to Sosa at third base. Let me pause right there. Kimbrel had a rough go of it in Los Angeles. Sosa had a rough road trip at third base in general, especially in that LA Dodgers series where he had a couple of balls just go under his mitt. He missed a line drive that was hit right at him that ended up costing the Phillies a game. So he had a rough go of it on that road trip. He has played very well over the last 2 games since coming home. He has played very well in general, especially in that game 3 against the Boston Red Sox. He has played very well at third base. He has responded well to having some struggles in LA. So it's good to see that from Sosa, especially when you know the guy can come up with a clutch hit for you as well. So let me just acknowledge that. And that play that he made, not just in that 10th inning, but earlier in the ball game too, in that bottom of the 9th or top of the 8th inning, I want to say it was. He goes out there and he makes an absolute hustle play to make sure that he gets Guerrero, I believe it was, running to first in that bottom of the 8th inning. So that was a top of the 8th inning. That was a great sign to see from Eddie Sosa, Edmundo Sosa in that instance. So great to see that. Now let's get to that bottom of the 10th inning. Phillies go up to the plate. They're facing Miza. Stott goes up there. I don't know what's going on with the Phillies when it comes to bunting, but I feel like in the last 2 innings of the game, I've seen the Phillies try to bunt more than I've seen in the last 2 years. It was unbelievable. Sosa goes up there, tries to bunt at 2 different pitches, can't do it, fouls one off, misses the other, ends up at least making contact and ending the inning, unfortunately, in the bottom of the 9th inning. Ends up grounding out to third base in that instance. Then Stott steps up with Sosa on second in extra innings. The automatic runner at second, that's Sosa in this instance. Stott tries bunting the first 2 pitches. I believe he fouled the first one, missed the second. So right away, you're in the 0-2 count. Next thing you know, he strikes out in the inning. It was just like surrendering. And I understand the idea. Stott's a near 300 hitter. I hate taking the bat out of his hands. He could drive a ball. He could score that run from second base. He could give you a situation where you got runners on first and third with nobody out. Like, you don't have to necessarily give up that at bat. I get the strategy and I understand it, but I can't remember the last time I saw Stott try to lay down a bunt. So it seemed odd. It should be something that every major leaguer should do. It wasn't. He couldn't do it. Sosa couldn't do it. So next up to the plate, you have Trey Turner. 10-game hitting streak. He extended it in this game. He got a double. Good for him. He at least works a full count. He gets a walk. So now you have runners at first and second. And I heard Tom McCarthy during the broadcast, and I love T-Mac, but he said now more pressure is on Meza in this instance because there's 2 runners on and then you got Bryce Harper. I thought, if anything, you got less. I mean, the runner at first doesn't matter. If Harper puts one in the gap and you have Sosa scoring from second, I mean, who cares about the lead runner? If I'm Meza in that instance, I don't care that I have now put a runner on first base. Now I have an opportunity to get a double play. And what does Harper do? Well, he hits the ball on the screws back to Meza. I think a one-hopper back to Meza. He fields it, clutches it out of the sky off the bounce, right? Fires to Bo Bichette at second base. Now you have a double play ball. Except Bo Bichette can't make the throw to first base. He sails it past Vlad Guerrero Jr. at first. And now you have Sosa rounding third, heading for home. The game-winning run, the walk-off run, rounding third base. It's a perfect carom to Vlad Guerrero. And I go, they're not even going to, it's still going to be a double play. We're going to the 11th. This is crazy. And sure enough, they field that ball perfectly. They throw home, and Sosa beats the throw. Phillies win 2-1. They can't get a runner to cross the plate until the bottom of the 9th inning. You can't write this kind of drama. And the Phillies get the win with Sosa scoring that run on the throwing error by Bo Bichette. It's crazy. That was dramatic. In the bottom of the 9th inning, the most dramatic at bat of the season, probably. You have a situation there at the bottom of the 9th inning. Harper leads off with the base hit. Castellanos steps up, crushes a hanging slider, demolishes a hanging slider down the left field line. Just hits the cover off the baseball. You get what I'm saying? Rewind to last night. Castellanos hits the ball down the left field line, gives the old body English down the first baseline. Ball stays fair. He gets his home run. Today, no such luck. That ball goes foul. The at-bat continues. So you have a walk-off near walk-off situation. Would have been a 2-run home run. Then he pops out, which looks like he's going to pop out in foul territory to right or to the first baseman. Vlad Guerrero was the one tracking it, Vladdy Jr. He can't make the play. So now you almost had a runner stranded at first base with one out, and the inning would continue. Then he hits a ball up the middle that could have been a double play ball if it was hit just maybe 1 inch closer to Bo Bichette. He can't turn 2 on it. Castellanos ends up beating out the play. Now you got runners at first and second with no outs. Schwarber strikes out. Real Muto comes up with the big hit to tie the ball game with an RBI double to left field. That was awesome. That was the 8th straight slider that Romano ended up throwing in that inning. Romano throws 8 straight sliders. Real Muto goes, I guess this is going to be a slider. Jumps on it, pulls it to left field, gets the RBI double. You're tied at 1. Bohm then unfortunately grounds out to the first baseman, to Vladdy. Vladdy then throws home to get Castellanos trying to score. I get, again, the strategy there. You send him no matter what because you still have Real Muto behind him on the base paths, so that's great. Marsh gets the intentional walk, and Sosa ends up grounding out to end the inning. But the Phillies, the damage had been done. They're tied. They go to extras, where, of course, they win the game on the walk-off error by Bo Bichette. Thrilling, exciting. Couple opportunities like to see the Phillies cash in on, but it was just not meant to be tonight. Schwarber was out there in left field tonight, despite the injury, unfortunately, as Harper. No, if you missed last night's game, Schwarber fouled a ball off his left foot. It turned out to be a contusion. Nothing was broken, so he was right back out there in the field today. Interesting thing going on with Stott today, unfortunately. He goes 0 for 5. The average now goes down to 276 on the season. I mentioned Turner extends his hitting streak to 10 games, which is great for him. Still batting 261 on the season. Not great. Not great. And tonight, also, his batting average after his second at bat, I believe it was, dipped down below the 300 marker. Sorry, not batting average. On base percentage dipped below the 300 marker. He leaves the game with a 305 on base percentage. Still not really the standard that Trey Turner has set in his career. So let's just hope that he's getting used to the new atmosphere. And in this month of May, it'll all click and everything will be right with the world. Harper in this one, another 2 hits for him. He's in 321 since coming back with a 406 on base percentage. Another multi-hit game as well for Nick Castellanos. 322 on the season. Not too shabby. And JT Realmuto doing JT Realmuto things, still hitting around 281, 280 on the season, which is great to see. We're going to have a lot of games like this throughout the season. I don't know what it was that just gave me confidence this team was going to win this game, but the Phillies just did not hang their heads today. They just kept on fighting. They kept on pushing, and they knew they had no business whatsoever getting shut out by this Blue Jays team. Gausman was coming off a performance against the Boston Red Sox where he allowed 8 earned runs. You mean to tell me the Phillies were going to be able to muster up even a run? When Belt hit that home run in the 5th inning, I said, it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time before this offense clicks. If the Blue Jays offense isn't going to click into high gear, the Phillies is going to at least click into some gear in this game. Because you look at guys like Biggio, you look at guys like Guerrero, you look at guys like Bichette, and all these guys in the Philly. Chapman had been hitting the ball well. All these guys in the Blue Jays lineup, I was feeling they're going to click at some point. But it doesn't seem like it's going to be today. If you get Zach Wheeler pitching 7 innings, I got confidence that this bullpen can come in, give you an 8th, 9th, and then it turned out to be 10th inning as well of some pretty good baseball out there. And that's exactly what they were able to give you in this game. This Phillies bullpen has been a force to be reckoned with this season. Nobody wants a piece of this unless you're the Dodgers. Then they kind of have their way. No Alvarado, obviously a big hit. They put him on the IL. It is retroactive, so he won't miss that much time. But when it comes to this bullpen, even without Alvarado, they've been pretty dominant. When it comes to Dominguez, for the most part, when it comes to what you've been seeing from Kimbrel, with the exception of the early goings of the season and last week in Los Angeles, or earlier in the week in Los Angeles, those have been struggles. But for the most part, you have been able to trust and rely on this bullpen. And Gregory Soto, again, he had a really rough outing. I guess it was against Boston, I think. But then he comes back over his last 2 outings and really does a phenomenal job out of the pen. They're getting to a point where you can really start to trust them. If you haven't already, you can trust this Phillies bullpen, which is a great sign. As you saw the game continue and really go on with other guys going up to the plate there, especially Sosa, who I mentioned at third base, doing a hell of a job. The one guy I'm waiting for, in all sincerity, to really kick it into high gear, and I know he's coming off that contusion from last night, is Kyle Schwarber. The home runs are great. He had a big swing for you yesterday. It's a big swing for you against the Red Sox as well. This is a guy that you can, I think, start really trusting in the month of June. We're all waiting for that moment for him to be able to take it to the next level and be the Kyle Schwarber that we saw throughout last year. I think it's just, you talk about guys that have a matter of time. This is a guy that has a matter of time with Kyle Schwarber, so I'll be waiting patiently for that. I did find it interesting, and maybe it's because Sosa isn't exactly known to be a great hitter. I did find it interesting that in that bottom of the ninth inning, they chose to load the bases with Brandon Marsh with the intentional walk. Found that very interesting, as a matter of fact. Marsh really has started to get the respect he deserves around the league. You look at his game today, for instance, and 0 for 2, but still was able to work 2 walks, still hitting over 300. What I can't get over with Brandon Marsh is his .416 on base percentage. We talked about this in the very early goings of the season. And we talked about how at one point this year, you're talking about slugging percentage. The only guy I think that was hitting better than him was, I think, Max Muncy. Like, guys throughout the league that are much better known than Brandon Marsh and much more established than Brandon Marsh were MVP consideration type guys. And Brandon Marsh is going to be getting all-star consideration this year if he keeps up what he's been doing in the first month plus of the season. So watching him and the guy that they acquired from the Angels, and the thought process the entire time was, if you could get this guy to, you know, you're going to get a great center fielder, a guy to play great in center field. And that's what, with the exception of one misplay last night, that's what you've been getting from Brandon Marsh in center field. But anything you were going to get from him from the plate was going to be gravy. It's going to be extra. It's going to be a cherry on top. Well, what you're getting from the plate, you're already getting an all-star caliber player in center field. You're getting an all-star caliber player in the batter's box as well. That is a sight for sore eyes. What we're seeing from Nick Castellanos this year is the exact turnaround that most of us were hoping for and also betting on coming out of last season. That's a sight for sore eyes. Brandon Marsh doing what he's doing at the plate while doing what he's doing in the outfield is the most pleasant surprise of this season. I mean, I thought Stott would get an opportunity this year to hit at the top of the order. Not at the very top of the order, but I thought, okay, if Schwarber's not mashing the ball like he was last year, and if he has similar numbers with batting average and on base percentage last year, he's striking out like he was last year, maybe you move him down in the order. Maybe you're going to see Turner lead off. I thought he was going to be the Stone Cold Mortal lock at the top of this order. And then maybe Bryson Stott's your two-hole hitter, especially after you saw Rhys Hoskins go down in spring training. I thought Turner... All right, then you're going to have a guy like Stott up there, and then Harper when he comes back. Like, that's a good 1-2-3 punch. That's pretty solid. I didn't expect to see him do what he's been able to do this year, but I think by far the most pleasant surprise. Like, if I would have told you Brandon Marsh is going to be a plus 300 hitter, a plus 400 on base percentage, and also hits you a couple of home runs in the first month plus of the season, you probably would have said I'm crazy. But that's what he's bringing to the table. We talked about after the trade deadline last year, he's a 288 hitter. This is a pretty impressive performance you're seeing from Brandon Marsh to start out this 2023 campaign, and it is fantastic. We do have to talk more about Nick Castellanos because that at-bat that he had in the bottom of the ninth inning, that very dramatic at-bat, we don't see Nick Castellanos see that many pitches in any game. We never see Nick Castellanos hit like that. We never see him drag out at bats. We never see him really go deep into counts. We see him swing wildly at outside pitches in the strike zone today. Very much appeared to be all over the place. So if he would have swung at a couple out of the strike zone, I wouldn't have blamed him. But in this regard, today, the way he was able to perform in this particular game and the way he was able to go deep in his count in that ninth inning and foul off a bunch of pitches. I mentioned the very dramatic play where Vlad Guerrero Jr. couldn't get to it down the first base line in foul territory, but he just kept on plugging away in that at-bat. He put the ball in play, and a good thing ended up happening for the Phillies with him being able to beat out that throw at first base. But you see him in that particular at-bat in that ninth inning. And the thing that impressed me the most is that you don't see 9 pitch at-bats from Nick Castellanos. You see him a lot of 2-pitch at bats. You see a lot of 4-pitch at bats. You don't see him ever go above 5. And that's what he was able to do in that at bat. Taking pitches from the bullpen, seeing a guy like Romano throw as much as he was in that instance, that's something that he was not ready to do. And then you see the Phillies really make him pay for it later in that inning by at least getting a run out of it. So that was great to see. And that's something that I know a lot of people want to see from Nick Castellanos as well. Not just the power, not just the numbers, not just the production. The production is ultimately what matters, but you're going to get a lot more production if he sees more pitches. You get instances where you're able to swing early in counts. You know you can sit on a fastball. A guy's going to hang a slider like what happened over the last 2 nights. And, man, he can belt that baseball. He gets 2 hits today. You'll love to see it, and that's the turnaround you wanted to see from Nick Castellanos from last year to this year. To sing the praises one more time of this Phillies bullpen, especially with a guy like Craig Kimbrell and what you were able to see from him tonight, he has regained every ounce of confidence in his 2 big pitches. His fastball, he's locating with great precision. And then you look at his knuckle curve, he is able to locate that and also get guys to chase it out of the zone with great regularity. A couple of games ago, we're talking about, Kimbrell's cooked. He's done. Stick a fork in him. 34 years old. He's done. I see a guy that the only thing I am concerned about is if he breaks down towards the end of the year, if you have a situation where you have a guy coming out here and he's able to throw this kind of heat this early in the season, can he last to the end of the year when you really need him? Are we going to be hoping to scrape together some more bullpen help come the second half of the season, come the playoff push of August and September? But what I have seen so far from Craig Kimbrell has been a sight for sore eyes. This entire bullpen, I think we have trust issues in Philadelphia, and rightfully so when it comes to this bullpen, because we have seen it remade so many different times and it hasn't worked out. Last year was the exception. The emergence of Jose Alvarado was a huge, talk about sight for sore eyes. That was a huge welcome surprise. But this year, it seems like Dominguez is really gaining our trust back after coming back from injury. Alvarado certainly doing it, carrying over what he was able to do last year. Kimbrell establishing himself, and Gregory Soto. Holy pots and pans. Is he a guy worth trusting out of the pen? All these guys are really bringing it so far this season. And I think that for the vast majority of the year, Rob Thompson has done a great job of managing his bullpen. During yesterday's postgame show, I definitely questioned bringing in Dominguez instead of having Nola try to go one more inning, but I absolutely understand why you might not trust Nola to try to give you 7 innings and why you went to the bullpen in that 7th inning. A day like today, you're able to trust Zach Wheeler to go out there and get you some more pitches, get you one more inning before you start trusting the bullpen. And Wheeler is certainly a better MO for pushing for that extra inning than Aaron Nola. So I understand that. But for the majority of the season, whatever Rob Thompson has done with this bullpen, I have absolutely trusted. The lineup, that's another story. Schwarber, for instance, in the 3-hole still, I've forgiven him. We've moved on. Now he's a 5-hole hitter, and he's right to be a 5-hole hitter in this lineup. It is really great to see the Phillies playing at the level that they're playing at, finding ways to win. I know a lot of times people could barely take both games against the Blue Jays. Well, Blue Jays is a pretty good baseball team playing in a great division. And yes, I'll take the win as a win thing. But more importantly, above all that, good teams find ways to win. If Edmundo Sosa isn't able to come up with plays at third base like he was able to throughout this game, you don't win this game. If Nick Castellanos doesn't go back to the warning track and make catches against the wall the way he did twice in this game, you don't win that game. If he's unable to track those fly balls, hit deep to right field, and he's unable to make those plays, you don't win this game. It's a close game. It came down to a throwing error. That's what a close game can do. It's like when you watch any other sport, like hockey, for instance, and you look at it and you go, oh, well, I just hope a cheap goal doesn't decide it because it's been such a great game. Well, sometimes the margin of error is really, really tiny. Sometimes it's huge. Sometimes it's tiny. In this game, it was minuscule. A walk-off error won you the game. But the plays along the way are a big part of why it was such a close game. You had great plays from Sosa at third base. You had a great play from Bryson Stott late in the game where he went deep in the hole to throw out Bichette, I believe it was. And then you had two great plays there in right field where Nick Castellanos just tracked the ball beautifully, timed his jump perfectly in right field, went up against the wall and made the catch. That's what you want to see from him consistently. And Schwarber didn't burn you in left field, which I believe still has become an issue. But for the most part in this game, I feel like the Phillies played a fundamentally sound game, except for bunting. Maybe tomorrow's the day off for the Phillies, a getaway day, if you will. Maybe at some point, maybe right now, maybe after the game. Maybe they're in the cage at Citizens Bank Park. Maybe they're just trying to lay down some bunts. I don't know. If it's going to become part of the Phillies strategy, maybe that's the thing they do. They practice bunting. Phillies now will go out to San Francisco. They'll go to Colorado first before San Francisco. I've been saying San Francisco. I had my series confused. They go to Colorado for a 3-game series. Then they go to San Francisco. 3 in Colorado, 3 in San Francisco. There'll be an 8:40 start time Friday night in Colorado to take on the Rockies. Taijuan Walker will get the start for the Phillies in that one. And then Saturday, the much-anticipated 2023 debut of Ranger Suarez. He'll be getting the start. 8:10 start time there in Colorado. Then Sunday, 3:10 start time. Aaron Nola gets the start for the Phillies. And then 3, starting right up again on Monday, by the way. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they got the San Francisco Giants. Colorado, by the way, nice little run for themselves since losing to the Phillies, 3 of 4 in South Philadelphia. They swept the Brewers as part of a 4-game winning streak, took 2 of 3 from the Mets, and just took 2 of 3 from the Pittsburgh Pirates. So a much different-looking Colorado Rockies team at 16-22 on the season. So that's where that one rounds out, and then it'll get underway Friday night at 8:40. Taijuan Walker will get the start against the lefty, Austin Gomber. Austin Gomber, by the way, 3 and 4 on the season with a 6.75 ERA. Looking at his last start, he allowed just 2 runs on 6 hits, so he's definitely calmed down. He did allow, back on the 19th of April, he got shelled by the Pirates, allowing 9 runs in 2 innings of work, and that's where his ERA ballooned. It was actually part of a 2-game stretch where he allowed 14 runs. That's no bueno. That is no bueno. Thanks for watching, everybody. Alex Schmidt produced the program, did a wonderful job as per usual. Burr says, hit the like. Ari, what's up, Ari? Appreciate you stopping by. Ari is a St. Louis Cardinals fan who loves Edmundo Sosa. Can't say I blame him. But maybe when he was in St. Louis, he could have learned how to bunt. Anyway, the postgame show here on JAKIB Media is brought to you by Colony Pools and Power Washing. Let Colony Pools and Power Washing bring your home back to life for the summer of 2023. Give our sponsor for the entire 2023 baseball season a call at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250. If you're tired of seeing that green algae stain on your roof, and you live in Delco, Chester, in the state of Delaware, let Colony power wash your house and take the pressure off you. How about that? One more thing. Scott Matthews. Trey Turner has the most meaningless 9-game hitting streak ever. 10-game hitting streak now. He goes 1 for 5, 1 for 4, 1 for 5 every game with 0 hits with men on base. Scott Matthews, I don't disagree. I was thinking the same thing. You know what? Hold on. While we're doing this, Ari says no one in St. Louis knows how to bunt. Scott, hold on. While we're on the subject, because if I don't look this up now, I'm going to forget to do this, and I want to do this. I want to do this for the good of the people. Where this is what you call in-show prep. Okay, I'm just curious how it's gone. In-show research would probably be a more appropriate title, but I just have to see this. So 10 games ago for Trey Turner, he's hitting 261 right now. He's had a 10-game hitting streak. I want to go back 10 games and see where Trey Turner was hitting. All right, so right now he's at 261. All right, I'm not kidding you. 10 games ago. The funnier way to do this is before the 10-game hitting streak, Trey Turner was hitting 263. He's now hitting 261. He's had a 10-game hitting streak, and his batting average has gone down 2 points. Okay, now this is even funnier. 2 games before the hitting streak started, he was batting .273. Oh, that is rich. That is rich in comedy. That is hilarious. Yep, that's right. That is accurate. Baseball's a funny game. Scott Matthews, baseball's a funny game. Thanks for watching the Phillies Postgame show on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel, brought to you by the great people of Colony Pools and Power Washing. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Be back with you guys Friday night after hopefully a win against the Colorado Rockies. Alex Smith produced the program, did a wonderful job. I'm Marc Farzetta. Have a great night. See ya.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
And the big story on Action News.
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction. Go with trust.
Go Birds!
And go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
This is Governor Ed Rendell urging you to vote for my friend Judge Pat Dugan for Superior Court. I appointed Judge Dugan in 2007 to the Philadelphia Municipal Court, where he now serves as its president judge. Pat is a proud Army veteran of 23 years. He served 2 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. He's also recommended by the Philadelphia Bar Association. But most importantly, he bleeds Eagles green and hates those Dallas Cowboys. So get out and vote for number 3, Judge Pat Dugan for Superior Court.
Paid for by Dugan 2023.
EAGLES, Eagles.